Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I am so happy to be here with you today, and I'm just getting everything set up on my end. I'm using a new service to actually broadcast this Facebook Live to my other pages. So I'm really curious to see where you're seeing this and where it's showing up in your news feed. I am curious about who is going to be joining me today. So if you're here, and you can hear me and everything's working well, just let me know by leaving me a comment and give me some likes or some hearts just to let me know that you can hear me and you're on with me. So I am really excited about this topic today. I chose this topic because last week here in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle area, things just started to turn gray. You know, the skies started to turn gray again, and we had a lot of really dark days. So I was like, okay, I know that I'm not the only one feeling this, and it's going to be important to actually let people know what they can do to prevent getting those winter blues. So how many of you have experienced the winter blues? I would love to hear from you. What happened last year? If you are in the Seattle area, then you probably experienced the gray, dark days of winter last year. And I don't know about you, but it really crept up on me and hit me sort of in springtime. I realized that, you know, this was probably the most intense winter we've had since I returned back to the United States. I've been here for, I think it was 5 or 6 winters. I grew up here in the Pacific Northwest, and when I left, I lived in Hawaii for 3 years and saw the sun for 3 years and loved it. And then I left and went to Europe and was in Germany for almost 10 years, and then in Southeast Asia, and then in India. So I was in a lot of places that for 15 years that didn't have these heavy, dark, gray days that we have here in Seattle. So, you know, when I came back, I didn't really remember what it was like to spend the winter underneath that cloud cover until last winter. And last winter, it really hit us pretty hard. And by springtime, I realized that I needed to put some practices in place that would help prevent me from feeling the way that I was feeling towards the end of winter, beginning of spring this last year. So I wanted to share with you what my top tips and strategies are. Some of you may or may not know this, but I have been on a path of holistic health and healing and personal growth and inner work for over 20 years now. And so I've gathered a lot of different training along the way, including mind-body medicine from Harvard and whole health education from the National Institute of Whole Health. And I've been dabbling and learning as much as I can about alternative methods for healing and wholeness as long as I can remember. So I wanted to share with you what I did. And I'd love to hear from you as well if you felt the same way I did last winter. So if you were here in the Seattle area in the Pacific Northwest and you were affected by the winter last year in any way, please let me know. Share in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Let me know where you are currently. If you live in an area where winter comes and you see more gray days than sun. So let me know where you're at and what your personal experience is like during winter. I would love to hear from you. So whoever's watching, please let me know what your experience has been like. I would love to hear from you so that I can speak specifically to you and for you as well. So one of the things that I found was that towards I think it must have been February or March of this past year, I just was, everything felt so heavy. You know how the clouds can get kind of landlocked here, and when there's a lot of gray days, there's just this sort of pressure that comes from above, and I could really feel it. And I was feeling like I was just wanting to crawl up in a ball and be cozy, and I was wishing I had a fireplace, and I didn't feel very motivated to get out and do things, and my mood was affected. I actually noticed a difference in the way that I was feeling in my mood. I felt more depressed than I think I have in a long time. And I really had no reason to be depressed. I love my life. I love my home life. I love my relationship. I love my clients. I have a lot of reasons to be happy. And so I realized that the winter had caught up to me and I was feeling like I just needed extra support. And having the background I have, I know what I need to do. And also working with different holistic practitioners and naturopaths, I did what I knew I needed to do. And I want to share with you those tips now. And so I'm actually going to show you a few of the things that I do. And I want to start by saying that I am not a doctor, obviously. I'm not your naturopath. I'm not your alternative health practitioner, nor am I licensed to give you any specific recommendations on supplements or anything else. But I'm going to share with you what I did and what I do for myself. And then I would love for you to find out some of these things for yourself as well by asking your doctor. And if you do live here in the Pacific Northwest, the first thing I want you to do is get your vitamin D levels checked. We're just coming out of summer and the sun is actually shining today, so this is great. But when we live here, we generally don't see the sun as often as most people. So we need to have our vitamin D levels checked on a regular basis. And because we don't see the sun, we need to bring the sun into our homes. And so I'm going to show you what I use. And this is a Very Luxe lamp. I don't know if I can bring it over here. Yeah. Oh, wait, there it is. So it's actually a lamp that produces sunlight, and I turn it on when I wake up in the morning and it's cloudy. I actually turn this on, and so you see the difference now. If this light is on my face, it's much brighter, and I actually keep it on for at least a half an hour in the morning. And so that was something that I did last year. I went and bought myself one of these lamps. I actually got it at East West Bookshop, which is in Seattle. You can order them on Amazon. It's a Very Luxe lamp, Verilux. So get yourself a sun lamp if you live somewhere where you don't see the sun very often in the winter. So that would be my first tip, is to get a sun lamp. Invest in it. I promise it will be worth it. It will pay off. Here's the thing. Work preventatively this winter. So do things strategically, work preventatively. Don't wait until you're feeling the gloom and the heaviness and you're realizing that you are sad for no reason and all of those symptoms start to creep in, right? Because what happens when the sun goes away and we don't see the sun very often is that our circadian rhythms get kind of thrown off. When we live somewhere where we don't see the sun as often, ultimately, our bodies are designed to rest more, right? So more melatonin is also produced. And melatonin is what helps you go to sleep. And so you might feel more lethargic and more tired, right? And so the other thing that happens is serotonin levels go down. And that's kind of our happy hormone. That's what makes us cheerful and joyful. And interestingly enough, it's 3 out of 4 people who experience SAD, so seasonal affective disorder, so that's seasonal depression, are women. And women are, our levels of serotonin need to be looked at as well. So, talk with an alternative practitioner, take a look at your serotonin levels. If you recognize that last winter you had a really hard time, use the sun lamp because that's going to help with your serotonin levels, and take a look at your vitamin D3 level. So I'm going to show you what I use, and this is just what I do. And I want you to find out what you should do for yourself. I use Natural Factors vitamin D3. I think it's great. It's 5,000 milligrams. And I'm not going to tell you how much I take. I want you to be advised on how much you should take on your own. So that's what I do every single day. And I take it throughout the summer as well. Why? Because I want to work preventatively so that in winter, my body has enough vitamin D3, because we just don't see the sun as often as we should here in the Seattle area. So I'd love to hear from you. I see that some of you are watching, and I'd love to hear how last winter was for you. So let me know in the comments. How was it? How did you feel? What happened last winter? Do you feel like you have all the tools that you need to be equipped to really enjoy these seasons. Really enjoy the fall, really enjoy the dark winter, really enjoy the spring. Do you have enough tools to really do that? So let me know, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching and you feel like people in your family or your friends or in your community would benefit from having some tips and really thinking about strategically, how am I going to go into winter and what do I want winter to look like for me? Go ahead and hit share and share this to your page to let them know that there are some things that they can do very inexpensively. There are things they can do on their own to be empowered in their life and throughout the winter so that they are thriving in winter and enjoying winter, right? So some of the practical things that you can do that we already talked about is using a sun lamp. So how many of you have used a sun lamp? Let me know how many have used a sun lamp in the comments. And also how many of you take vitamin D3? Is that something that you do? Were you recommended to do that? Does your doctor check your vitamin D3 levels? Lori, hey honey, this winter seems more daunting as we've had so much more sun than normal. Yeah, I totally get that. So we need to work proactively, right? Really work preventatively so that we don't find ourselves in that slump, because it's a lot harder to get out of than it is to keep ourselves from getting there in the first place. So do you use a light box? Do you have one? Do you know what it is? Do you take vitamin D3? If not, maybe that's something to ask your doctor about, your family doctor or a naturopath or an alternative healing practitioner. So the third thing that you can do, so it's going to be a list of some tools for you. The third thing to do that will radically change the way that you feel about winter is moving your body. Why? Because oxygenating the body and getting enough exercise and keeping the body and the blood and the lymph moving is going to be absolutely essential, and it affects your mood. Think about it. When you're working out more often, how do you feel? You feel more energy, you feel more vital, your body, your life force energy increases, right? So how is that for you? When you're working out more often, when you're working out on a consistent basis, can you tell the difference? Do you feel better? How many of you feel better when you work out more? How many of you? So like this, if you feel better when you work out more often. Lori, you're saying that you have a light at your home office, never considered D3. Okay, great. Yeah, so look into D3. I mean, it just blows my mind that doctors here don't tell all of their patients that they need to be taking it if you're living in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, so right, we feel good when we work out. And here's something that might be counterintuitive, or you might not think that this would be, something that you would want to do. But so exercise, whatever form of exercise works for you. It can even be on, in your home, watching a YouTube video or going to the gym, using cardio as your form of exercise. I personally use yoga, hot yoga, as my form of exercise, and I love to do it. And now in the winter, I'm going to need to increase the amount of days I'm going to yoga per week so that I stay vital and energized and happy. And so the other thing that makes a huge, huge impact is consistency in exercise, but also it being outdoors. So if you were to go, if you're not feeling well, if you're kind of feeling heavy, if winter's weighing on you, and you were to go for a walk every day for 30 minutes for 10 days, your mood would radically transform. And being outside, rain or shine, because that's a lot of, people here in the Northwest, I mean, we got to get over it. It rains a lot, right? So rain or shine, to get outside and breathe the fresh air, connect to the season, connect to nature, bundle up, make it an adventure. Bundle up even if it's raining and get outside, even if it's 10 minutes. Get outside, breathe the fresh air, allow the oxygen to purify your lungs, connect to nature, get outside. So get outside as often as you can this winter, even if it's just a 10-minute walk every day and you're still going to do yoga or to do your exercise or do something like that. And so being outdoors is super important. The next thing that I want to talk about is something that I believe in. And I'm sure that if you know me, you know what it's going to be. And that is mindset. So mindset and inner work and learning how to move through different emotions and different states of mind. And so really, if you think about winter, and the way that I think about it is I get excited. I get excited that winter is coming because, and especially now that I realized I need to up my self-care this winter because last winter hit me pretty hard. I'm excited about it. Why? Because I can look at it from a certain mindset and think to myself, this is going to be so exciting to get up early. And one of the things that I'm working on right now is like massive amounts of grit. And the reason why I need grit is because I'm writing my first book, and that takes a lot of grit. And that means that I have to get up earlier than I'm used to getting up. And that means that during the winter, when it's still dark outside and the world is still asleep, I'm going to be waking up, and that's going to take a lot of grit. And it's a desire to do it, a willingness to push through the resistance, and being committed, staying committed and being accountable that I show up for myself in that way. So I'm going to be getting up early and having a really solid morning routine and rituals that help me to start my day in like a more sacred way. So if you live in a place where you have a fireplace, maybe you make more fires this winter, or you light candles and it just become a more sacred sort of environment for you as well. I love having Christmas lights up, and we have lights all around our balcony and we turn those on, and just creating an ambiance where it feels inviting and it feels good to be inside and it's cozy, and using this time of year to do more inner work. This time of year is excellent to do more inner work. We have a lot of holidays coming up. There's a lot of family stuff coming up. And usually around the holidays and around family stuff, we get triggered. You know, maybe there are things coming up in your relationship, and those things usually get brought to the surface around holidays because those, you know, we feel it more. And so it's a great time of year to do more inner work. Reflect on what it is that's coming up for you, journal more, read more, and really work with someone. You know, hire someone to work with you, to be your coach, to help you through whatever it is that you're needing to work through. And that's one of the things that is recommended to do if you are someone that finds yourself feeling more depressed during the winter. So work with someone who can help you with your mindset and can help you navigate the emotions that you're feeling. And that's good advice for any time of year, but especially for those of you who feel affected by the seasons, that would be something that I would highly, highly encourage you to do. And the last thing is, how are you feeding your body, right? So a lot of times we've got a lot more parties to go to, and there's a lot more drinking, and there's a lot more sweets, and oh no, I can't say no to that piece of pie, and you know, all of these things happen. And so we start also getting into this place where we're eating more sugar, we're craving more sugar, we're eating more carbs, we're eating more gluten, right? We're eating these fatty, hearty, sugary meals. And you know what you can do, and that actually makes your mood worse. It makes your mood worse. So if you're, you know, find yourself reaching for those comfort foods, and you find yourself getting having a lot more sugar in the winter and doing a lot of the sweets and the desserts and the party foods, just be mindful. Be mindful of what you're putting into your body, and understand that there's a connection between the body and the mind, between the emotions and the body. And so the foods that you're eating are either going to help you to feel good, or it's going to spike your energy and your hormones, and then it's going to crash you. So, you know, be mindful of how much sugar you're eating. Be mindful of what you're putting inside your body. So what about you? What tips do you have? I would love to hear from you. Are there things that I didn't mention that you recommend? And so let's just recap quickly what I went through, and that is having the light box. So actually getting some sunlight in the morning. and using it proactively. So using it, you know, like for Lori, you have yours in your home office. So use that every morning, and especially the gray days, but continue to use it even if it's not gray, because that's going to help increase the level of serotonin in the body and therefore help you to be more happy, cheerful, joyful. Check your vitamin D3 levels with your doctor. Find out how much you should be taking for you. You might need a lot more than you're expecting. And get exercise. Exercise. Stay consistent with your exercise, not just spurts. We need consistency in these practices in order for them to be effective, right? Otherwise, we're just taking the edge off constantly. You know, we feel our pants start to get tighter and we're like, oh, I need to go exercise. Similar with meditation. And meditation is another practice that I highly, highly encourage you to do. I'm sure if you're here following me, you already know that. And if you don't have a practice yet, reach out and talk to me. I have a lot of ideas for you, including a library of free guided meditations that are on my website. All you have to do is go to my website and go to join the tribe and sign up for my website, my free audios. So that's something that you could be doing for yourself. Hey, Sally, last year was the first year I felt affected by winter. Looking forward to trying a light, and maybe that will help with wanting to hit the gym too. Awesome. Yes. I feel you. It was the first time I've ever felt it myself as well. And it really took me by surprise. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. I've never experienced this. Okay. And I put practices into place, and now I know, okay, this winter, I'm not going to allow myself to get to that place where it's affecting me the way that it was last winter. So I bought the sun lamp and I upped my D3 this winter, and I'm really consistent with my yoga practice and with my meditation practice. And those are the things that really work for me as a foundation. And of course, healthy eating, so healthy nutrition. And the foods that are really good that help to keep your mood lifted are the ones that we should be eating anyways. It's leafy greens, you know, getting more chlorophyll. So chlorophyll from the green foods, from the leafy greens, from micronutrients, using foods that are still alive. So eat food, eat whole foods, mostly plants, right? So eat greens, a lot of greens, eat healthy, lean protein, eat fish. So just do things that are lighter for you. Another thing that I'm going to be doing this winter is juicing on a regular basis. So green juice, so making my own green juice at home. I use a omega 350 VRT. It's a vertical masticating juicer so that the nutrients are still intact in the juice. And I'm super excited to be juicing this winter and making a bunch of beautiful, warming, hearty, nourishing soups, and taking care of myself at yoga and meditating every day, twice a day for 20 minutes, and journaling and making it more of like a sacred time and ritual and ambiance. So those are my tips for you. If this is helpful, if you feel like these tips would be helpful for people that you know that might have been affected by the winter last year, please feel free to share this to your own page or share it in a private message with someone if you're thinking of someone specifically. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have your own tips, I would love to hear from some essential oil gurus in my friends list. So anyone who is a distributor of doTERRA or Young Living or does any other type of essential oil therapy, write in the comments for people what essential oils would be best for them for the winter, how to use essential oils to help lift your mood and emotions, and give them a link to contact you in order to connect with you and buy the products. So, and if anyone else has other ideas, let's keep this conversation going. Even though I'm going to be logging off, keep the conversation going. Keep commenting in the comments as you're watching this, and share any other additional tips that you might have so that we can stay uplifted and energized and thriving this winter, and really using this for this beautiful time of year that it truly is. So thank you once again for joining me. I am going to be coming to you live more often. I've made that commitment to myself because I've got a book to write and I want to share with you the juicy content as I put it on paper. So I'm super excited about that, and I'll tell you more about that as time goes on. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all very soon. I'll see you on Facebook Live again very soon as well. Take care.